You're listening to United We Scan podcast. The views and opinions expressed are not that of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. If you are in need of assistance pertaining to the rural craft, please contact your local steward or assigned district representative. Thank you.
Welcome back. What are we on? Episode 8 of United We Scan. And Mike is back with us this week. And how are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well. Glad to be back.
I'm glad you are feeling better. Josh, how are you doing?
Thank you.
I'm doing good. Again, not looking forward to the alarm tomorrow, but I'm doing good. My birds are going to the big game, so can't complain.
Bill, how was your week?
How about them Eagles, huh? Hey, Jerry Jones, I hope you were comfortable on your couch today. Was Dak serving you tortillas and chips and salsa? Bite me, big boy. I'm doing great. My Eagles are going to the Super Bowl.
That is
Other
awesome.
than that, no,
Yeah,
I'm fine.
My week was, I worked as usual, went to a concert last night, so that was nice. I haven't been to one in almost a year, so you all know me and my concerts. So.
How is Neil Diamond?
I couldn't tell you, I was enjoying the thrash metal last night. Went and saw Anthrax, Black Label Society, and Exodus, so. I couldn't tell you about Neil Diamond, though. I have no clue. If I hear, I'll let you know, though.
Sweet Caroline.
Bum, bum, bum. Okay.
Everybody knows that one.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So I didn't get to my Wrecs training this week. I have to reschedule it. I was running my primary all week for a change. So I hopefully will get that done here in the next couple weeks. I did do the Zoom seminar for my state, the first one tonight. Unlike the one we heard about that Benjamin sat in last week, mine was not reading off the PDF word for word. It was, here's the PDF, highlighting the important parts, and I think it was listed for 2 hours, and we ended up going 2 hours and 45 minutes with Q&A at the end, so we'll see how that goes. I'm half tempted to register and log into next week's as well for some answers to some interesting questions that were asked. One that stumped everybody was, how do you get credit for an unscannable parcel that you have to leave a notice for? And we will have to look into that and get back to you answer.
Oh, wouldn't you put that down as attempted?
But there's no attempted scan under the unscannable parcel.
Yeah.
Just where you deliver it.
It's unscanned parcel just gives you delivery options.
Options, right. Yeah, it gives you the locations. Yeah.
Yep.
And couldn't understand why the parcel wouldn't have a scan if it's because, if it's all, and I chimed in the chat thing and said, I get quite a few that are metered. That, if it's metered, or I've got one woman on my primary that orders her Sudoku or crossword puzzle books, whatever they are, and that comes metered. So,
but what if grandma's too cheap to pay for delivery confirmation and just says, just push it through,
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting to see how that one comes back. Somebody had mentioned, and the same person had mentioned about the accountability with the scanners and the accuracy. Of course, this particular carrier is way out in BFE, and I know as a mapping facilitator, in some of those areas that are sketchy with cell phone service, you're when you were mapping, you literally had to plot where everything was because the breadcrumbs weren't picking it up. So that was the other thing, was big thing is how are we gonna, if we can't rely on the GPS breadcrumbs of the scanner because of the sketchy area being out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, that how do we know if this is going to be anything accurate? So yeah, it'll be interesting. And then the other thing was, how we hit something, we don't know what we're hitting, or we may clock in twice, or something like that. Well, why can't we once we clock in, why can't it be blocked out like it is on the city carriers? That came into, well, we don't have that technology, or it's not implemented in our programming, but they're looking into it. Like, okay, if city carriers can do it, since they are all switching over to clocking in on the scanners and not the time clocks, why can't they just put that programming in onto the rural side too?
Because they'll tell you it's too great of expense for the licensing of all our scanners, even though there's more city carriers and they're all rural.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same reason that we were using the same scanners as UPS, but theirs were better functioning because they pay for the better software.
Yep.
We got Walmart and they got Pottery Barn.
And I even think Walmart uses the same scanners, but I think their programming's even better.
Yeah, and they're bilingual.
Yeah.
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 They are.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to one of the city carriers recently, and they said as soon as they scan their barcode, they're clocked in.
Well, they do have to do a start tour, and any time that they do go in to change whatever their function is that they do, or their function that they normally would scan in a time clock, they have to rescan their badge each time they do that to go. That way, if they're using...
But I'm saying that he said that they filed a grievance on it and won. So as soon as even though they have to go through the motions, it puts them on the clock as soon as they scan their barcode.
That'd be nice too, because you got to go through all those BS, heat stroke warnings when it's negative 10 degrees out.
And how about that 1.5-minute video from PMG that we got for a week and a half or 2 weeks?
Oh, are we supposed to watch
at
that?
Christmas? Yeah, sure. At least once.
Oh, I thought that was spam. I kept deleting it.
I kept escaping out of it. I don't know. I never saw it.
I couldn't escape out of it, but I was able to tap the fast forward button.
Oh, I was able to escape out of it every time.
4 times. It was,
yeah.
As was I. I was too worried about getting my parcels done.
Oh, let's not talk about parcels, okay? Because Stevie Wonder still throws parcels in our office.
Oh.
Amazon didn't show up for my zip code for my primary route yesterday, which was great for me. I was done by 2:30 on my 93-mile route, but that's going to suck for the poor regular coming in tomorrow after being off for a full week.
Oh, well.
Has anybody noticed Amazon dropping?
Nope.
The volume on them dropping?
Nope, not in my office.
Not really.
Yeah. And it's like today, I saw 2 Amazon trucks out in my neighborhood today. It's like, okay, I thought maybe it was the first guy, was lost, but it was 2 different Amazon trucks. So they're out there Sundays in my area.
Yeah, they don't come up as far in my area. I think they end about 50 miles south of us.
Yeah, which doesn't bother me because I'm not getting credit for those parcels anyway on my route. So, deliver away.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I still see, I may see the Amazon trucks in here in my neighborhood, but I also see the postal trucks.
You got to find another hobby, okay? Watching delivery vehicles. Jeez, come on. There's a game on today. What are you, nuts?
The only delivery vehicle I watch
I
out for...
NFL.com on my phone.
The only delivery vehicle I watch out for out on the route if I'm out in one of the other two zip codes, is the FedEx guy out of Gaylord, because I got blamed for him taking out somebody's fence post, and he almost ran me off the road one day. He did back into a coworker who was servicing a box, and he backed out of a driveway and hit him. And then the same coworker watched him back out of a driveway into oncoming traffic and hit another car. Yeah, that's the one I watch out for.
He's got a death wish.
Oh, I'm telling you.
I'm too far out.
Why haven't pulled him off the street?
Right, because the office he comes out of is 2 hours away, and it's a contract. So FedEx ground. So how the hell you know? And then when you try and call the office that they come out of, because they're a contractor, they tell you to call the FedEx hotline and report it that way. And then if you try to call the contractor number that's on the truck, you just get a voicemail. Oh yeah, trust me, they tried.
Huh.
Mike, when we get a private channel, I'll explain to you why you don't see Amazon on Sunday in your area. Or hardly at all. Not suitable for all ears.
Oh, okay. I know it had something to do with us being too far away from the Amazon hub.
No, not like that. Mine's much worse than that.
I'm sure it is.
That's for the after hours show.
Yeah,
that's for the after party.
Not suitable for PC or woke ears. Hey, I found out today, folks, with undisputable proof, why the cost of eggs is so high and hasn't come down.
Why is that?
A lot of chickens are now identifying as roosters.
Roosters.
That's a lot of cock and bull.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today, Kristen?
The discrepancies in all this Wrecs BS.
Oh my God, there's discrepancies?
I don't believe it.
You would have never guessed. Oh
I'm
my
glad
gosh.
I was glad I was sitting down when you said that.
It's just too hard to believe, isn't it?
Well, you know, I'm smitten because I had an ADR tell me that another ADR who was co-producing the mini mail surveys that I attended, they're not always right. And I said, like what?
Wait. The ADR is not always right?
One ADR was telling me another ADR was not always right.
Oh, okay.
And I said, you know, what do you mean? He said, well, not a he. This person said about the other person, also not a he. That if you find something in your hamper that is not technically a parcel, then it's not a parcel. But at this training seminar, we were told everything in a hamper is a parcel. So I'm confused.
Yeah, we were getting conflicting on that tonight too. People were asking that because they have been seeing the talks on the social media about that, and we were getting conflicting messages from the ADRs and DRs as well.
Now,
so
go ahead.
I will tell you, out here in the Great Plains. The message we're hearing is that if it's in a tub, it's a flat.
Yep.
If it's in your hamper, it's a parcel.
Yeah, that's
what we heard.
That's basically what it came down to. Throw away your blue
sticks.
Yep.
That's basically what it came down to. If it gets tossed into your hamper, it's a parcel. If it's in a tub, it's a flat. If it's in the hot case, it's a letter or whatever. So even if it's a letter that's in a tub as a flat, it's counted as a flat, you know.
Yep.
I think
a lot of the process it doesn't have the blue bars.
Well, it's like some of it came down to clerks that were tossing missorted stuff that had got tossed back into the toss-back case, and instead of going and putting it where it needed to go, they were just tossing it into the hampers. That's where the situation came in our discussion tonight.
Okay, now I have a question for you then. If everything in a tub is a flat, and a visiting clerk brings our flats over and stops by the hot case and throws the letters into the tub, do they now become flats?
That's a good question.
That's a good question, because the problem you have with that is the stuff in the tubs is supposed to be counted at the plant
Off of the report, off the machine.
off of the
Right.
machine.
But we still have hand sorted flats too.
Yep.
Right. Oh yeah, we do too.
And during the serve, did they count them before that clerk picked them up out of the case and put them in the tub?
We haven't had that happen yet.
Now, I just thought of an interesting thing with this. Is in my office, we have 3 zip codes. One zip code, the P.O. box stuff and her, because we have 2 lock pouch routes with the 2 different zip codes. So all of her tub flats come mixed between the flats and the P.O. box, and we just sort them out when we're casing up mail. Now, the other zip code, which is my aux route and my primary, they come to a zip code routed in a tub, but the clerks sort that out between the 2 routes and the P.O. box.
But your instructions were anything in a tub is a flat.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Correct. And
where
then,
did you see that, though? I know you heard it, but where did you see it?
I haven't seen it in the black and white yet.
There you go.
I saw it in our state newsletter. That just
Doesn't count. Doesn't count unless it has a reference to a national agreement or understanding. The state has no bearing on it.
Okay. The article was written by our DR, who went to the training.
I just went to the training, and everything in the hamper is a parcel, but now it's not. Everything in the tub is a flat, but it maybe not. I mean, okay, here's one for you. How many ever used the reload feature that was on the scanner a couple of years ago?
I did.
Reload?
Yes, I did in the test study office, and that was when we were out on the route and we had to move our mail around, essentially reloading, and that's what timed it. Now, from my understanding, when they took that away, that was because then they took whatever the average was between all the test study offices, and that's what they were going to build in. It's built in now, that average for reloading.
Okay, that's pretty good. Now here's the answer I heard. They took the start reload and end reload off of there because they wanted to put 2 different functions on there. And that you should start hitting the start load vehicle and end load vehicle out on the route while you're reloading. And that would record your reload. But if you look into the Wrecs program, there is actually a formula, a calculation for your reloading time based on the mail volume, the amount of trays and everything else, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But if you taco your mail versus stand up, the up-down method, your mail, you'll have more trays than the up-down method. So therefore, the number of trays that they allocate for reloading would be off if you do the up-down method.
And
because the taco... And the taco method to give you more,
And I can totally see hitting the start.
How are they going to determine how many trays you have? Is someone supposed to count how many trays you pulled down into?
Well, they're basing it on the number of trays of DPS you get, okay? The number of FSS you used to get, and some people are still getting them. And the number of bundle flats that, are being assigned to your route. But there's no allocation for raw mail, box holders, that are coming to you or anything else that are in there, especially the EDMs that come out of your local businesses, for your routes.
Mm-hmm.
So how are they calculating your reload without those being factored in?
And I can actually
Well,
see where.
if you're entering them each day that you get them, it's giving you credit for that many pieces, the number of pieces per number of boxes you have. So they're averaging, they're going to average that in. So let's say you had, for the 52 weeks, you had 75.
26 weeks.
It still does a 52-week average, though.
Yeah.
Even though it's every 26 weeks they recalculate, they're still going back a whole 52.
Well, from the first get go. After that, it's going to be every 26.
But they're still going to go back 52 weeks prior to that to take 52 weeks worth of data.
Well, I'm sorry. Have you seen all your data? We still haven't had access to it yet. Don't tell me the numbers you're showing me.
I went to ask someone the other day, and they're like, "What are you talking about?"
That's like they finally got the radar system up that allows them to put in the numbers for the CODRs, which are your bundled flats that you're getting now.
Yeah, but you don't get those numbers till the next day.
Till the next day. Again, the best technology that money can buy.
But I can see where I was starting to say where the start load, end load, while you're doing the reload and moving stuff around out on the route would be beneficial for the sheer fact that I can't tell you how many times I've had carriers on especially a heavy day, get dinged for a stationary event.
Right.
Because it's taken them 10, 15 minutes to reorganize everything to continue on.
Well, and okay, hate to be a sexist about this, but most men wear pants with belts, therefore they can wear the holster and carry the scanner with them, so they can see the movement from the front of the truck to the back of the truck and et cetera. Whereas the women don't, unless they have some kind of lanyard or something that they wear around their neck with the thing in the scanner in there. But that's what's giving you your stationary times, and people are getting 15, 20, 25 minutes in stationary time, and the supervisor, I'll put you down for lunch. Well, I was reloading my truck. Mm-hmm. Now I can reload my truck twice a day, or I can reload my truck 4 times a day, depending on the volume.
I have a carrier that was accused of taking a cigarette break and not clocking out for lunch because he's like, I was reloading the truck. I was moving stuff around. I wasn't, we get that too. And I know the last 3 days I've had to use my POV on my primary for a change because we've got the trainees, and so that extra LLV we've been borrowing for training's been used. So I haven't had the luxury of using LLV on my POV route, but that's fine. We got snow. My POV is much better in it. And, I have to stop halfway through and move the back half from my trunk to the back seat. Because I'm not going to get out at every stop that I know, even for a spur to throw in the mailbox and pull it out of the trunk. So, yeah, I started putting that scanner in my hoodie the whole time I was walking around.
Well, but what are you going to do in the summertime when you're just wearing your bikini top and the thong?
I'll have to hook that sucker up to the thong or something and pray it don't fall off.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I wear.
Or I'll put it in the top and, and use the goods to hold it in place. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I think I probably brought that up.
All right, so we went a little beyond PG right there, but
yeah.
13.
Oh God. Okay. How about the fact that I try to explain to people to carry the scanner with them all the time when they're on the route. If you go back to the truck, you pick up a big package, you scan it to the back of the truck, and then you put the scanner down and you walk 40 feet over to the door. You're not getting the credit that you're entitled to. how hard is that to understand, folks?
I know. I mean, we're all guilty of it at one time or another. And then you're, oh
Yeah.
shit, I should have took that with me. I've been there, or I've been known to scan one or two of them, carry them to the door, come back, scan the last two, and then carry the scanner with me to the door. And then it's like, yeah. I mean, I get it. I do. Like I said, I'm still notorious for not putting my postage dues in the scanner too. So,
Which, okay, now that brings us back to another point, okay? Where does the scan actually originate, aka terminate, aka give you credit for where you deliver it? Is it when you first scan it?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
is it when
you
you
first
last
scan
scan
it.
it?
When you first
First
scan,
scan.
that first initial scan. But it
Right.
does,
Is what
it
gives
does,
it
it does breadcrumb until when you clear that scan out. So
Right.
if again, I have been known to scan it at the mailbox, toss it in, and continue driving down the road, then it's hollering at me because I didn't clear the scan out. That happens.
I've done that a few times myself.
It happens.
Everybody's done that.
Oh yeah. But and then they can see the breadcrumb trail where it was, closed out at. But yeah, that initial GPS marker of where it was scanned at is that first initial scan.
Right.
Yeah, the time, date, and location is when you press the button, you hear it go beep boop.
Yeah.
Now, according to the mini mail survey training I attended, if you have a mailbox at the side of the road and you have a parcel for the house, the distance you're credited for is as the crow flies. So if you have a driveway, like I have several that are a quarter to half a mile long, winding back and forth around ponds and streams, you're only getting credit for the 1,100 feet that you're going, not the 2,800 feet you actually drive.
Yeah, it's the straight line distance between the mailbox to where you dropped off. Straight
right.
line, yeah.
Right.
I get it. I have some windy long driveways too on some of my routes. Yeah, I totally get that.
So,
I would say, yes, that's correct. However, before you weren't getting any of that credit.
oh, gee, thanks, Josh. They're giving me half credit now.
And as a POV carrier, I don't
That
get
means a
that.
lot.
I don't get that extra mileage. I get the time, but I don't get that extra mileage. Now, I do remember as a test study office what they did for, I don't know, it was a couple weeks, maybe a month. They actually had us put our start to a mileage and our end mileage in when we hit depart to route and end to route as POV routes. But that only lasted, I'm going to say, maybe a month total.
Right. Well, I'm going to put some it's maybe aluminum plates on the bottom of my truck so I can skim across the two ponds so I can do the straight line of, sight to the house, Let's see how that works.
I had too many
Get up
trees
some
on a couple of those.
Yeah. Come on, folks.
Can I put can I put a helicopter propeller on top so I can go up over the trees?
There you go.
I'm in the Huron National Forest. Come on now. There's trees.
Now you were saying about the cell service that you lose out in those areas. Okay. Now my question would be to you is that how about the GPS service? Is that still functional out there? Is that showing the exact breadcrumbs? Because I'd like to see that.
See, and that's where I came at with when mapping, especially my primary route. Mapping my primary route, there was a lot of boxes that I had to go put where they were because they weren't there at all. It wasn't registering at all. And it was a lot of tree coverage. And I haven't put up my GPS. Maybe next time I run that route, on the 9th, I think is the next time, maybe I will put my GPS in even on my phone and see if I lose signal. GPS signal. Yeah. Because I know it's a dead zone. And it's a dead zone for both Verizon and AT&T out there, the two main carriers in my office, and I know our scanners work off the Verizon network.
Now, the reason I can ask this with certainty is that in Westchester, we are located on Airport Road, and a half a mile from Airport Road is a stone wall reservoir. And if you're driving from the office and you're on the lane closest to the reservoir, you lose cell phone service. When you return at the end of the day and you come up that same Airport Road and you're on the opposite side, you maintain your cell phone service. Henceforth, hitherto, and why beyonds, is that the same in regards to the GPS system?
Yeah.
And like you said, you'll have to check with your phone to see if you get GPS service out there.
Yeah, I think I will.
I'm not sure that's being accurate either.
Yeah, because I know out there, especially out there, Verizon's, it's a dead zone for Verizon, in which our scanners are on the Verizon network. I found out from my former postmaster, but I have AT&T service, so I get a little bar, but not much. At least enough that if I had an emergency, I could call and I would have enough service to talk to somebody. But yeah, it's interesting, and that kind of collates with the carrier that was on our seminar tonight that does live out in the middle of nowhere, highly dense forest area, and yeah, you know, how are we supposed to trust the accuracy of these scanners for our pay when they're not 100% correct?
Now, when you go back to the Wrecs system, okay, you got to do your walking distances in your office, okay?
Yep.
How about, okay, somebody misthrows a parcel into my hamper, and it's on the city side of the office, which is another 150 feet away from me. Am I getting credit to walk that over?
That was actually a question brought up today. Was something similar like that. And that was, well, whatever distance of where you're supposed to take that to is what should be put down as an event of some sort. I'd have to go back and refer to my notes on that one.
Oh, gee, I feel bad. I throw it in the middle of the floor, say, not mine.
Right? I usually just hand it back to the clerk because we've got some new clerks and they're not always accurate at the moment, even when the thing tells you what route it goes to. But be like, yeah.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
my office is small enough I can try that clerk toss and see if I can get it just on the other side of them into that other bin. But I didn't say that out loud, so you know.
No, I know.
And in my office, the clerks are further away from the supervisors, which means I'd have to walk the 200 feet to return it to somebody.
Or how about handoff mail? We have one route. We have one address. When they moved into that address, it's right on the line between the one zip code and the other. And so it took 2 or 3 weeks for them to hear back from the township offices and the zoning to figure out where it was supposed to go. So half their mail goes to the correct one, the other half goes to the other route, so that route has to then go hand it off to who it goes to. You know?
Well, there's one of those other events.
Yep.
Now, what do I do when I get a parcel that's not even for Westchester? Do I have to take it to the other post office and get time for that?
Right?
I'm just saying, you want me to hand it off, you know. I want to make sure it's done properly.
Yeah.
That's for your postmaster or supervisor need to let you know where is a designated spot to put any misthrown parcels. Whether it be the supervisor's desk, back over to the clerks for resorting.
Josh, you're talking
that's
about
where they need to measure.
You're talking
I
about
know. I'm talking about
people that couldn't find a whole U card of political mail a month after the election.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I can't speak for that.
Yeah, the same company that was still sending political flyers through the FSS machine in December.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out the obvious, folks. This is, this may be funny, but when you're talking about, you're carrying your scanner on the route all the time, when you're talking about credits for, handing off, when you're talking about, the unscannable parcels and all, this is your money. If you don't put it in the scanner, it doesn't go into your wallet. Plain and simple.
Exactly.
And it's your wallet. And the same thing goes for your subs, too. If you don't train them right, guess what? You're going to lose a lot of money.
Well, and as the office OJI, as the shop steward, and as the senior RCA, and having been around a while and understanding it and starting in a test study office, my 2 trainees, I made sure I printed off that Wrecs activity guide, and they each got one. I said, these are yours. Read them, memorize them, do it. And you have any questions, ask me, and we'll start, going over it.
Like on Facebook in the last week or two, you've been seeing all these people posting about, oh, everyone's going to go down so much once they implement this. So I posted in one of the groups, for everyone that's saying you're going to go down, are you doing those
Additional
18 other possible scans?
Not just the 6, but the other 12.
Oh, I always do my trip to doors. I never forget the trip to doors, ever. Or
and
box holders. And I will yell out on Advo day, when we get Advos, I will yell out, flat box holder. That way they all know to punch it in. I have no qualms about doing that in my office.
Yeah, I yell out, do your Advos, put it in the study.
Yep.
Because a lot of them will scan the Advo barcode and then not put it in the Wrecs.
Right.
Yep.
And even though we don't have the necessity for the ruler anymore, still, if you get the long horizontal flats, that are, printed like a catalog or a flat, you still get credit as a flat.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I see Cincinnati woke up.
Oh, they did? What's the score?
13-12 still. Well, Kansas City's still leading, but 13-12.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. Halftime yet?
Third quarter, 9:54 on the clock in the third.
Ooh.
13-13.
Ooh. Got a game, baby. Got a game.
Sounds like it.
That doesn't matter. Eagles are going to kick the snot out of both of them. Super Bowl one day, I won't be in at work. That's like today. Somebody was on our local text line here, and I said, I'm going to call out before the regular call outs call out tomorrow. And somebody said, who are they? And I said, you know who they are, and so do they. We have some people that are just regulars, when a game like this goes off, that they just happen not to be able to come in to work.
So SAC is going on this weekend, or went on this weekend.
I've heard that rumor.
Yeah, since you didn't go, you can't report.
Yeah, I couldn't make it this weekend.
We've heard a few things, nothing too major that I've seen so far. But yeah, this will be interesting. I know Mike and myself will be at Mid-State, so we'll definitely be able to report back on that.
Yep.
And are you going to Eastern, Bill?
No, I'm not.
No? Okay.
No, number one, it's in Maine.
Ah, gotcha.
Got against Maine.
Well, let's see. It's going to be in March in Maine, where they get a lot of bad weather.
I don't blame you. We'll be in Kansas in May, so it's like I told the boyfriend. I said I'd rather be there in May than the middle of July when he's going for his karate stuff in Larned or somewhere west Big Bend, but I don't know where the hell. Somewhere over there. But
in Kansas?
Yeah, it's been in Larned.
Lawrence? Oh,
No.
Larned. Oh, I've never heard of that.
It's way over on the west end. Probably only an hour east of the Colorado border.
Oh, okay.
Dang.
Yeah, I've been there. and in July, and it sucks. So,
Oh, it sucked the other 11 months too.
yeah, there wasn't much going on there at all. Small little town. But, so yeah, I'm looking forward to Wichita in May. And actually, for this year, that's the only one I have to travel out of state for. I got kind of lucky on that. Since National will be in Grand Rapids again.
Grand Rapids. Yep.
So that's only a 3.5 hour, maybe 4 hour drive for me, so that won't be too bad. Wichita, on the other hand, will be probably about a 15-hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I
Well,
plan
about the same as it took you to get to Orlando last year.
Orlando was 27 hours, including my 3-hour nap.
No, I was gonna say, I think it's shorter, isn't it?
Yeah, Orlando is a 24-hour drive straight through for me. I took a 3-hour
All right,
nap.
well, never mind then.
No, it's a little bit closer. So I think next year for Reno, though, I may look into flying instead of driving out to Reno.
I'm sorry you're not here to share what I just did.
I don't want to know. So
It's a good thing I wear my Depends all the time.
it has been said that Ronnie will definitely not be running in August. So he will be stepping down. But right now, looks like the rumor mill has, well, we knew Don was going to run for president. Patrick Pitts looks like he may be tossing his hat in for VP. And then the other ones that'll be up for election will be seeking the same positions. So we'll see. See who else we may have that come up to step up and run. Looks like we may have an ADR stepping up for executive committeeman, and another outsider that ran for VP this past year. Looks like she may be running again. Not me. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see if we get any more announcements as the regional meetings come through.
Oh, good. Well, you have a puppy dog and a lap dog running for president and vice president.
Yeah.
Boy, the silence on that was deafening.
I mean,
well, they're all politicians at that level. They're all politicians. So
yeah. It's all a political game. We Bill and I know that from experience. It's all the political game. So yeah. I'd like to see who else is going to step up and possibly run for president, and VP. I'm curious. See if we can try and still get some newer blood on there. But the way that it's gone, yeah, I'm not holding my breath at any means there. Yeah, I would have to. Yeah, no, I'm not holding my breath at all.
I mean, if somebody doesn't step up, I mean, we're just going to limp into, the same bullshit, the same lack of concern, the same lack of knowledge. I mean, hell, Don's got a route that's 300 miles from where he lives in California.
Yeah.
How the hell, I just sit there and laugh. It's like, you people are, what, brain dead?
And it's public knowledge. It's not like y'all can't log in on these websites and look up and see where their assigned routes are. It's all out there.
Where can you find that?
I will post a link. I would have to go search it out again. I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Well, that'd be nice, because some people would say, well, you're just talking smack. And if we provide them with the information where they can do this research, they'll sit there and say, well, hold it. I thought Ronnie had a route in Tennessee.
He does.
But he doesn't live there.
No, he does not.
Well, why are you tying up a route when you're not even in the damn state?
Exactly.
There you go.
Or in the locale, even.
There's the link.
There we go.
Hey,
Yeah.
look at that. Well, why do you like that?
But yeah, it's, especially the much as even in my 8 years, I'm just going to buy with my 8 years. I know you guys have more time, especially Bill and Josh and Mike's got a little. I think how long you been around,
No.
Mike?
Not much. I'll be at 9 years in April,
Okay,
so not much longer than you.
No, you actually only have. Let's see, April's what, the 4th month. So you actually only have
Yeah.
8 months longer than I do. So yeah, it's in the amount of stuff that we've seen change in that little of time compared to what Bill and Josh have seen. And then you have national board members who haven't touched a route in even longer than that time.
Yeah.
It makes you, how do they even have a clue of what's going on other than what they hear?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, I have much respect for my retirees. I do. You guys did your time. I have mucho respect. It was a different time. But
Yep.
when they are holding the majority of the voting delegation, how are things going to change?
Right.
How are things going to change?
Exactly.
It's, if you want to see change, and I see so many people complain, and, well, if things don't change, or if Wrecs doesn't do, I'm out of the union. Well, what good is that going to do you? Why can't these people step up? It's not that hard to toss your hat in so you may not get in as a delegate right away. I mean, I've been a delegate to national once. This will be my 4th national. I'm tossing my hat in there. I was an alternate last year. I got bumped up to delegate the one prior, 2019. So, even a state delegate, it's a lot easier to get in as a state delegate for most. I know, especially with me, with my county, when you only have 3 or 4 people that show up at county meetings. So, automatically I send in my name for state delegate. I already have it because there's not going to be, we don't have enough to fill it and have to have a vote. So, that's how you start getting involved in that area. And I think as, I want to start as we get more into, once we get this Wrecs fiasco going and March and stuff comes up, we're starting into annual meeting time and getting ready for state conventions, and we're going to start doing some stuff on resolutions and getting your name in to be a delegate if you want to be involved. I mean, it's not hard to do. I mean, I've been doing it from the very beginning. So, we'll definitely be getting some stuff out, especially for resolutions. I know one young lady carrier in my state, she has 3 or 4 resolutions that she's already working on right now to put forth when it comes to her annual local meeting and on up to state. So, we'll be addressing that as well. Right now, it's the whole Wrecs fiasco.
Yeah, and it will be. But I'd love where, it's going to, the 4003s will be shut off on February 7th, Saturday. Okay. Well, I thought that was on a Tuesday. And then, the walking has to be done by the 11th on Saturday. Well, hold it. You can't have 2 Saturdays within 4 days of each other.
Right?
I mean, now, I don't want to be a smartass, but I'm not a dumbass either. Jesus. Folks, come on now.
And
Well,
I
it's,
just,
apparently you just can't read a calendar.
oh God, I just, you got to be kidding me.
now I do know that the walking distances and the route settings can be preloaded prior to when the mini mail survey actually starts. So,
Mhm.
they can preload those walking distances in before the 11th if they want to get them
Yeah,
done. Map.
yeah.
My biggest concern is mapping updates. I mean, we initially mapped. It's been almost a year now, and no
Yep.
updates have been done. So now, as the mapping facilitator in my office and the local steward, I am going to be pushing on getting that done this next week. This is probably about the only week I'm going to have to be able to do it prior to the 7th.
Hmm.
I
And the thing of it is, like our 4003s is, you kidding me? I mean,
you're breaking
yeah,
up there a bit, Bill.
you just, man, last week
Mm-hmm.
that, you just got our 4003's line of travel corrected. Well, the problem with that is that she gave me my copy of 4003 that hadn't been corrected from 5 years ago. So where are the breadcrumbs and all this, folks, that you were supposed to be paying attention to? Didn't that, kick off a red flag on my 4003 when all of a sudden I had 11 extra miles on my route? And the answer is no, it didn't.
Yeah, it's
Somebody
and
actually has to pay attention to them
exactly,
to catch, to flag it.
and that's why they implemented the new AMS policy. Is basically when you've got supervisors that aren't updating the 4003s when they're entering in the edit book changes. Even if a carrier submits the box count change on the 4003 in the red, it's not getting implemented. So this is where that whole AIMS new policy came into effect, was the accountability on the office level. Now we got to send them off and hope we get them back in time to start the process all over again the next month.
Well, I'd like the fact that they turn around and tell you, it'll be returned to you on the 21st. You know how many offices are serviced by our AIMS office?
Ours just came in. They said the 21st. Ours actually got received back to the office on Friday. So that was what, the 27th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. 6 days after they were supposed to be returned is when we actually got them back.
Yeah. Come on now, show me something, better than that. I mean, God Almighty.
And as of Saturday morning, they were still sitting on the supervisor's desk in the envelope. They hadn't even been opened and returned to the carriers yet.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a route where 124 carriage homes was put onto the route. And for convenience, the carrier who's out on OWCP just threw them on the bottom of the capes. Yeah. But the 124 carriage homes are the first thing they hit in their line of travel. If they're going to deliver it that way. But because your line of travel shows them being at the end of the route, you finish up at Riverside, drive 3.5 miles to do 40 boxes on Meeting House, drive 1.5 miles to do 4 boxes on New Street, and drive 3 miles back to the carriage homes to do those.
Yeah.
Now, you wonder why it's a K50 route?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
it's over 60 hours right now.
And here's our situation: is we have 148K route in my office that she and that's without Amazon being counted, and they love their Amazon out there. That's all I got to say. So what's so I what's that going to do once all this is implemented? And they have to cut it, so because it's a different zip code, they're going to have to create a new aux route. And where are we going to get the carriers for this new aux route? Unless they decide to roll my aux route back into the primary, which, as it stands right now, would bump it up to probably a high 46. And again, my office has not had Amazon, and my primary was, 50 to 60 parcels on a heavy day at the last mail count, and now 50 to 60 parcels is an extremely light day. So, what's that going to do to it? So then that one's going to bust if they have to roll that in to create an aux route on the other one?
I'm looking up the carriers on that site that you put up there, and we have a John Young in our office. Okay, John Young's a rural carrier. He is what is this? Pay grade 0, and he makes $33.88 an hour, or $33.78, and he's paid hourly. Really?
Wow.
Hold on. The funny thing is, because the second one I put in 2 different sites. The second one, Data Universe, is the one I personally prefer. Rural carriers, it lists an hourly rate.
They both do.
City carriers and clerks
are salaried.
A salary.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird. And you guys gotta remember, those sites aren't updated regularly. Sometimes it takes
once a year.
Once a year or twice a year sometimes. But yeah, it's...
Well, I know Data Universe is usually January, February, right around now they update from anything from last year.
Fed's data center, I think, is done twice a year. But don't quote me on that. But yeah, it's, like I said, all that information is out there. So if you want to see where your national union employees are, where their routes are listed at, and may not always line up to where their home residence is. It always makes it interesting.
Now here's a conundrum for you, okay? Because your area and your ADRs are paid at a 48K route rate. In our office, our ADR is making the same whether he works union or he does his route, because he's a K48 too.
Now, is he a full-time or is he a part-time ADR?
Part-time ADR.
Oh, okay. So that would explain why he's running the route. We don't have any part-times left in my state, as far as I know. I think they all are full-time now.
Yeah, well,
but even look at that and how long, the full-time ones, how long some of them it's been since they've run their routes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's you just keep paying the people to support you. That's all. Yeah, you want to see somebody start some shit. Talk. Go to the national convention and talk about dissolving the national steward system.
Taking it back to the states. Oh yeah.
Giving it back to the states. You want to hear some shit then, folks?
Yeah.
What kind of asshole would do that?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe one named Bill.
I don't know.
Oh, damn. Good guess.
I wasn't around for the state steward program. I've always known the NSS, so I can't say one way or another, but from what I have seen in the last 8 years, yeah, I could... Yeah.
Well, you have to look at the state steward system the same way you look at our political system. Okay, the reason why we have 50 states and you really can't affect elections is because you have 50 different entities input in the data for the ballots. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it's harder to corrupt all 50 of them. Well, the same way with the steward system. If the state's picking the people out, then you might have political shenanigans going on in different states to a certain extent. Okay, but the national board's not controlling it. Right now, they are. By their assignments of the ADRs and the DRs. Now, the states can make suggestions, but the national board is the one who makes the final decision on who becomes what.
Yes.
So, it's all politics.
And that goes right down to area stewards as well. I mean,
yeah.
I think area stewards should be more under the state thing, or even local than. I mean, you elect your local steward, and an area steward only has the same power as a local steward in those assigned offices.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't that be brought down to the state, if not even local level?
Right. But just like a political party in the United States, if you centralize the power, you control everything, and make everybody behooving to you for their positions.
Exactly.
If you're ADR or no, if you're a DR, let's say a DR. If you're a DR, and you haven't run your route in 21 years, okay, I'm having a problem here because you have no idea what the hell we go through. So when you settle a grievance for language, it makes me fucking nuts. I don't want to hear language. I want to see penalties. I want to see monetary penalties. I want to see labor penalties. Have these people removed from the different offices that are berating the employees, threatening the employees. We ought to have a list of all these, just like they kept lists of the priests, they ought to keep lists of management.
Oh, I agree.
So once they're removed from an office, they don't go to another office.
But instead, it's the management shuffle. Okay, so you suck at this office, so we're going to try you out at this office now. Or I know of an instance where somebody was a plant supervisor and was told if they wanted to keep their job, they were going to go be a postmaster at this little 2-route office if they wanted to stay employed. And that's how they got placed at that office as a postmaster.
Wow.
And they were a supervisor in a plant.
We had a gal come over to our office in a supervisory position, and she had never carried mail. She'd been with the post office for a while, but her position, she was like a custodial supervisor or a maintenance something, but she'd never carried mail. And absolutely had no clue what anybody did. She was trying to tell me one time, a customer said, was talking about a parcel locker and was identifying it by the CBU unit it was in, CBU unit number. And I looked straight at her and said, I have no clue where that CBU is.
Yeah.
What's the address? Where was it at? It's like, I don't know. It's the CBU number. It's like, well, show me the carrier in the office that knows all the numbers of all the CBUs on their route.
Right.
Of the 36 routes in our office, the 12 city and 20 rural carriers in this office. Show me one who can identify his CBUs by the unit number.
Oh, exactly. That's like we only have 2 routes on our rural side that have CBUs, And if you were trying to give me a CBU number, I'd give you the deer in the headlights stare. But if you give me an address, I can tell you exactly what CBU that is.
Oh, I know right where that is. Yep.
Yeah. You know, I can tell you, oh, it's in that line of 3, and it's the middle one, and it's the second slot down, you know. Yeah. I could tell you that. But you give me a CBU number? Yeah, no, I can't tell you that.
She was trying to berate me about a delivered parcel. I said, didn't get a parcel, whatever. And she said, well, it was for 100. It was for 144th Court, and it looks like you delivered it on Gallery. Why are you so far off on this? It's not 144th Court. It's 145th Terrace. I said, well, because the CBU for 145th Terrace is on Gallery. That's why it was scanned there.
Yeah.
Then I got the deer in the headlights look.
Yeah.
That was that just was a little too much for her to process. She didn't last very long, as a matter of fact.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, in our office, we had a situation where the supervisor's on the floor, the postmaster's in, a poom was visiting, and for 3 days, 2 of our rural routes didn't deliver any mail. We had no carriers. Okay, they didn't even have city carriers available except for the second day, and they brought back more mail than they took out, which was funny as hell, but they did.
Because they weren't walking.
Yeah. Now the trick of this whole situation was the postmaster got fired. Not the rural supervisor. Okay, the postmaster got fired, and he went from a level 22 office to a post office that had 1 clerk and PO box service, and he kept his pay grade. That? He kept his pay grade.
No kidding.
Wow. And then you wonder why we have when at the last national, when we had that gal. The only question the PMG took was that lady who just said, I've been, who had that just horror story of how she was treated by management.
Right.
And the area supervisor knew all about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, what did you, in any other organization, well, you knew about it. What did you do about it?
Right.
Obviously nothing. So, and it's just going to continue to be that way,
Yeah.
Like you said, Bill, that's what settling for language gets us.
Mm-hmm.
It gets us carriers coming up and crying on the floor of the National Convention, begging the Postmaster General to make their situation better.
Yeah.
Right.
And meanwhile, you got so many other ones that are sitting there nodding their heads because they can relate.
Yeah.
And there's no accountability for management whatsoever.
Nope.
And where's your DRs? And where's your national steward, director of national stewards standing up and saying, oh, this is effing bullshit, This should not go on. That they ought to be taking that lady off to the side with the director. The right there at the convention.
Right.
Take the director of steward operations and take the director of labor operations off to the side with the postmaster general. Get the information off there and get that bastard removed and not transferred to another, church like the priests do. But get them out of the post office. Period.
I think
this is what they want. They want them to terrorize us. The same way they come up with the 8, 10, or 12-day rule for subs. God damn! If we operated under those rules when I was a sub, we never got anything delivered.
Right. I worked, yeah, exactly. I worked 27 days straight between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep. I've been there.
I had nearly 40 hours of overtime on a check, I'm still recovering.
You know, I
my
still work 6 days a week because, well, my ox route's a 6-day a week ox route. I didn't run it one day last week because I was on my primary. But
my case still has the 47 magic marks up top. 4 down and one across. 47
Right.
of them were when I worked 47 days straight before Thanksgiving until after the New Year.
yeah,
But they can't work more than 8 days straight.
I don't know where that's
Yeah.
definitely not my office or my district, but they don't
Yeah.
give a
Oh
rat's
no.
ass.
Well, no, that's my district. Our district had RCAs have to have a day off a week.
Yeah. But hold it.
Yes.
You can work the regulars more than 7 days.
Only if they volunteer.
Yeah. But they can work it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
until the end of February, unless that MLU gets extended.
Yep.
I hope they don't.
I hope they don't either.
I really hope they don't. I mean, I I've seen, I had two regular carriers in my office that volunteered the whole time during Christmas. And not only did they volunteer to work those Sundays to help me, being the only RCA at the time, to get stuff out, but they were also coming out and helping me because I was running 2 routes a day. The one would be like, you know what? I'll go. He goes, you're on this big route. You're slammed. He goes, I'll take your ox route for you today. And not only, in the one day, not only did he take my ox route for me, he come out and met me out on the route I was running and took off part of that route, and he ain't run that route in over 10 years. And he came out and took the very end of the route off me so I could get back.
Now, why do people like you more than they like me? I don't understand that.
But
Well,
at the same time, that was only 2 regulars that were willing to do that. We had two
Yeah.
other regulars. One came in. She did come in on a Sunday. She was more than willing to come in one of the other times too. But that was the one she had available. And the other one just kind of came in, did it once, and then, never again. And of course, the other one, she just, she doesn't even like giving up her K day if she will fight it and complain to every, and she don't even have a sub, at this point. And so we've kind of, it's sad at the same time, but everybody's kind of smiled this month because she's had to work her 4 K days in a row this last 4 weeks.
yeah. I'm hoping that the reason because I know our RCAs are overworked, and I've been there too. I remember working having 40 hours of overtime at Christmas too. So, and I'm not that far removed from it. But the thing is, the more we do this, the less incentive there is for management to hire RCAs.
And not only that, that's the quickest way to lose an RCA, lose a newer one.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been around long enough, and my light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter to a point. The one carrier's like, she decided, she's like, I don't know if I'm going to go at the end of July with my 10 years or wait until next April when I turn 62. And I was like, oh. Well, maybe you'll come up with, and just halfway in between, say fuck it and leave. That's exactly what I told her on my way out the door. Because, that's the one I'm waiting on to go. She wanted to go this year and couldn't because she didn't have 10 years in. And so I'm just like, that light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter, but then for that moment it was not quite as bright yet.
Not quite as bright. Yep.
It started flickering.
It did. It is at the moment, but it's just, yeah. I mean, you get these newer ones coming in that, the one I know isn't looking to go full time at all. But the other one, he knows this job's a challenge, and he does have some, it is a challenge for him. He is a slow learner on it, but he's hanging in there. He's like, I'm back today. I'll get this. He goes, I know it'll take me some time, but, I'll get this. And he's my age, so it's not like it's a young kid or anything like that. It's, this is somebody who's finally like, you know what? I got to have something down the road for retirement, and he knows that he could possibly be full-time in a year and a half.
You know, so he's eyeing that. You know, he's only been around for a few weeks, and so he's doing what he can. He's sticking through it so far. Fingers crossed. But you know, but when you can go to McDonald's and pick up a job for $15 an hour, flipping burgers, and then you come into the post office at just under $20 an hour, and you're working your tail off, and it's hard work, and people don't realize that until they walk in the door and start doing it. Because even he said, "Yeah, this is not what I thought it was going to be. This is a lot harder." I'm like, yeah. You know, and I said, everybody learns at their own pace. I said, one day it'll just click and you'll have it. I said, but up until then, yeah, it's going to be long days. It's going to be frustrating. I said, but you know what? Everybody has bad days. I mean, you still have carriers with 20 plus years in that have that bad day. We all do. You know, it happens. And you get done, you go home, you go to sleep, and tomorrow's a new day. But yeah, you're not going to keep new employees, the ones that actually want to work, when you have management that belittles, berates them, and treats them like dog shit.
Okay, I have an important topic here that has to be discussed.
Yes, sir.
What's the score of the game?
2013 Kansas City. And Cincinnati's driving their first and goal. Just starting the fourth quarter.
Thank you. All right, go back to your other stuff.
But no, I mean, there's no accountability on the management end whatsoever.
No.
And you could, and it does, like Bill said, it doesn't help when you have NSS level stewards settling for language.
Oh God.
It doesn't.
But, like
it doesn't help when you have on the ground employees that know that management's in the wrong, but don't want to step up and say something or do something about it because they know the retaliation that they're going to get if they do. So they don't want to do it because they don't want to deal with that retaliation after the fact.
Well, like I said, I mean, Saturday I'm off. I get a phone call that they're being threatened to be forced to take parts of vacant routes out. So I called the ADR who's working in the office. I said, "Are they making threats?" "Yeah, but they're not enforcing them, And I said, "But they're making the threat." He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, we're getting for a hostile work environment." "Well, people are doing it on their own." I said, "Yeah, but they gave the threat, and this is the second time in 6 months. So therefore, we have a hostile work environment. Period." But he's one that he plays tootsies with management. So therefore, don't worry about it. They didn't go through with it.
And then when you have not only office level management that does that, but at the same time you have the pooms and the impoos that do nothing about it either when they're well aware of it. And they let it go. And then somebody has to send an anonymous letter to the OIG's office to say, "This is what's going in my office. Something needs to change." And then it just trickles on down, and then, still nothing gets done.
It wasn't anonymous. We knew you sent it.
Wasn't me.
See, that's why it was anonymous. But I'm sitting there and just like in disbelief that an ADR would sit there and say, well, they didn't act on their threats. It doesn't matter. I got them paid for the threat when they tried to force us in to help on the Sunday before Christmas, and it's like
it doesn't matter. They made the threat.
Right.
They made the threat. It doesn't matter if it was an empty threat and wasn't acted upon. The threat was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the other thing is, it's not only that they shift these supervisors around, but these supervisors have reputations, right? I can go to my ADR and say, hey, my new station manager, I don't know, it's what, I don't know his last name. It's Wes. What do you know about him? Because he's been in the area. I think he's been in the area for a while. Told my DR, yeah, I got a new station. When the last station manager we had said, well, we got this, oh God, what was his name now? Jeff. Oh, I know him. Yeah. Best way to deal with him is to make, when you suggest something, you make it sound like it's his idea. And that's the best way to handle him.
What is up with such the narcissistic managers? That they do no wrong and it's everybody else's fault.
No.
I mean,
It works the plant.
No, what did you say? No, the plant never screws up. Come on.
Oh God.
I don't know. Don't get me started. I still have a package.
I said they worked at the plant.
They worked at the plant. Okay.
I still have a package that got lost in USPS space somewhere that, as of January 3rd, was still in transit between California and Michigan, and it still haven't gotten it.
Well, that's good. That's as good as losing the the express mail that they lost. I'm sitting there going, well, how'd you lose an express mail? Isn't that an accountable? Yeah, but we don't have an accountable clerk. Well, how do you record it coming in? Well, we didn't. Well, how do you know it was lost here? Well, it said it was given to the carrier. Without an accountable clerk, how the hell do you know?
Show me where the carrier signed for it.
Yeah. So we have a new supervisor in training on, and he's going to sit there and hand out all these forms saying that we have to sign for the certified. And I said, what's a certified? He says, well, it's a letter with the green thing on there. And I said, no. I says, we have no accountable clerk. So I said, I don't know what a certified. But he goes, wait, you know what they look like? I said, I remember from training, but we don't sign for them. He goes, what do you mean you don't sign for them? I said, yeah, they're in the clerk mail. They're in the DPS. What? They're in my flats. What the hell?
They show up in my hot case.
Yeah. So how the hell am I supposed to show you, that, I signed for it? No, I didn't sign for nothing.
Yep. I haven't signed for a certified in several years.
Oh, yeah.
I signed for one on Saturday.
Yeah. Stop me if you've heard me tell this story before, but when I became a PTF, my house is in western Kansas, about an hour south of Kansas City. So my packet with the explanation of my benefit and my insurance things and all that stuff that you get when you become a career carrier got sent out of Kansas City. It got routed to St. Louis, Missouri, which is not only on the other side of the state of Missouri from me, or is on the other side of the state of Missouri from me. So it got, you can't make this stuff. As Bill says, you can't make this up.
Oh, you cannot.
The other 4 carriers we had who made PTF with me, they all lived up in that area. So they all got theirs within a day or two. And I'm like, well, I haven't gotten mine yet. It's like, it's in St. Louis. And my station manager at the time looked at me and said, well, you haven't come to me for this stuff yet. I said, well, I haven't gotten it yet. And he said, well, what do you mean you haven't gotten it yet? I said, well, it got sent to St. Louis.
We had a young lady convert from an RCA to a regular. She wanted to go hourly. Now you're supposed to get a packet indicating this.
Uh-huh.
She didn't get a packet. Somehow it showed up signed that she wanted to evaluated. And she said, well, can I have a copy of the signed paper? Well, we can't find it. Well, how do you know it was signed if you can't find it?
Right.
Just,
there's people who pull some shady stuff.
Yeah. And you're right. You can't make this shit up. You really can't. I mean, folks, Jesus.
Well, our supervisor's been doing training this past week on the computer back in the break room. And so our newer 204B, who is our city PTF, he's a decent kid. He's doing it because they approached him to do it, so they had somebody to do it, basically. We pick on him. He's like, hey, the Poom's here, He takes it with a grain of salt. He's a decent guy. And he had to go back and carry a route Friday. And he'd been on the desk all week. And actually, he was supposed to have Thursday off, and that's normally the supervisor's day off. But she had training. And, well, the postmaster didn't come in, so he got called in to sit at the desk. So Friday, he's up there. And we're like, whoa, you're actually on a route? And he was on the walking route. And he's like, yeah, here I am. And one of our row carriers looked at him. He goes, do you remember how to walk?
You hold up, you say, this is a parcel, this is a spur, this is a flat.
He's like, I don't know, I think I can figure it out. He goes, I'll try. But yeah, like I said, he takes it with a grain of salt. He's all right. I don't have a problem with him. But it's just, yeah, you can't make this stuff up, people. It's ridiculous.
In case of your 204B, it says Josh will tell you, in the military, the axiom is, if we're not picking on you, it means we don't like you.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Now,
Like I said to someone once, I'm like, if I didn't pick on you, you'd ask me what's wrong.
Yeah.
Why are you being so nice? Why are you being so nice to me?
Right. You remember how to walk?
That's funny. That's funny. That's just funny right there.
Yeah, it was funny. And of course, weather got cold and it was snowing, and he's like, I'd rather be sitting on the desk today than walking, but oh well. But he took it with a grain of salt. He's got a good sense of humor when it comes to that, because like I said, be out loading the trucks and he'd be coming in and we're like, hey, the Poom's here.
Well, if he takes any more stuff with a grain of salt, he's going to have high blood pressure.
Oh, I know, right? He already got diabetes. Yeah. But yeah, it's of course, sitting at that desk will give you high blood pressure too, so hey,
especially if I'm in your office,
right?
Ugh.
Dude, you would go insane with my postmaster if you ever were in my office and she was actually at work. That 2.5 day a week thing is back in effect, but
Well, like I said, I got this guy applying for an RCA job, and he gets an email saying that he doesn't meet the eligibility and suitability, and I'm sitting there going, well, hold on, he worked here for 3.5 years, but now all of a sudden he's not suitable. I'm missing something here. And then he turns around and files for another post office in the area
and gets in right
not
away.
Only gets the assessment test within the same day, and then turns around, passed the test, and says, we look forward to having you join. Well, hold on, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You can't explain it. You just can't. You can't make it up. You can't explain it. I mean,
they had last I knew, when my newest RCA went to academy a few weeks ago, I was told that we had another potential new RCA that was supposed to go in for fingerprinting. That was the last I heard anything. And that was 3 weeks ago, easy, if not more, a month ago. So yeah. And supposedly we have 11 more apply for the RCA position. And I'm like, yeah, and where are they? 11 more in the works. We don't even have 11 routes in my office, but okay.
Well, like I said, this guy, used to work for us. He was a good employee, and why wouldn't you want him back? Okay, but
Exactly.
the postmaster, after going through a morning where he has to come over and beg for help because they're down 3 routes, doesn't make any effort to find out why this guy's isn't suitable.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew at least half the routes in our office. But he wasn't suitable. But he's okay for Kennett Square because it's a smaller office. I don't know. You tell me. Somebody explain that to me.
Yeah, nope, can't.
Yeah, that one
Makes my brain hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about that one because, yeah, here's somebody that could literally come in and run half the routes.
Mm-hmm.
From
the
day
get-go.
from day one. Yeah, yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, I know I'm not smart, but I ain't that damn stupid. Folks, I can figure that one out.
You guys ready to wind down for the night?
I think so.
Please,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, what's the score right now, Mike?
It's
2020.
tied. 2020.
Hi.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Final thoughts for tonight.
Let's see. Wrecs is coming. Do your best to make it not a train wreck. Make sure you do all of your scans. Do everything to the best of your ability, and to the best level you've been trained, because this will determine your paycheck. Let's not get wrapped around the wheel about this mini survey, and let's concentrate on the bigger picture, the semi-annual adjustment, and just be careful out there. That's all I got.
Josh, you're up.
To follow up on what Mike was saying, like he said, due to the best of your ability of what you were taught, don't inflate your numbers and start throwing things in there because it's going to hurt you in the long run. But if you legitimately have something, put it in the scanner. I can't remember. I think it was before we went on the air. We were talking about it with the mini mail survey. The actual things they're going to count is 4% of the whole Wrecs thing. It is not going to make a difference. The only difference it'll make is if you are on the cusp of between like a 44 and a 45, it'll either put you over or leave you under. It's not going to break you and make you lose like 4 or 5 hours. The data they've collected for the last 52 weeks
Donald is having trouble, man.
is going to be what's going to make your eval. Don't get overwhelmed. If you do, take a step back, take a breath, and step back in. And have a good week.
Bill, what you got for us?
I got Crown Royal Apple. I got Crown Royal Salted Caramel. I have regular Crown Royal.
I just finished my Crown Apple. You want to ship me a bottle?
Hell no. As far as mine ships is the front door,
Right.
But we've been collecting these breadcrumbs and the data for years now. They know what you're doing. They know what you're not doing. It's time to step up and start doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is game time, folks. Okay, if you don't put it in your scanner, it doesn't get into your wallet. And it's plain and simple as that. You're responsible for your income more than anybody else in the post office.
Exactly.
Your training of your subs is vital, because if they don't do it, you're not getting credit for it. And that henceforth, they're not getting paid for it, because once they get to the point where they're getting paid for the evaluation and they're not doing their job, it reflects on both of you, not just, you, but them also. And you have to stress that to them. You have to imply, that this is important to both of you. Do what you can, learn what you can. If you don't know, go ask. What's it? The dumbest question asked is the one never asked, or
Yeah.
The only dumb question is the one
that's not asked.
Right. Thank you, Mike. And if you have a question, ask. It doesn't matter whether or not the other person sees it as being important or not. It's for you, to answer. It's for you to settle your mind. So ask the questions, okay? Challenge people, because until you learn this stuff, you're not going to get a fair evaluation. And then, when you cry about it, they'll say, well, did you know this? Did you attend the training? Did you do the seminars? Did you do the videos? I mean, the video is up on the national website right now, folks. And if you're not a union member,
on YouTube.
Yeah. And if you're not a union member, you got to go to YouTube, okay? But the thing of it is if you don't put the effort into it, you're not going to reap the rewards of it. Plain and simple. So other than that, go out, do the best job you can to the best of your abilities. Be safe. Get the job done. Go home to your loved ones, because they're the only ones that really count in your lives. The post office will replace your body in 24 hours, so, don't sweat it.
More like 3 to 6 months, but yeah, they'll have the posting up within 24 hours. And
then tell you're not suitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you worked there before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, no, and I'm going to stress that I have recently found out that the training modules for Wrecs have finally found their way to the academy instructors. It only took how long? And but yeah, it's definitely ask the questions. There's numerous resources out there. The biggest one, I will have to say, is the NRLCA website has pretty much everything to answer just about every question. It's just going to be taking the time to actually read it. There's a whole tab on there for Wrecs resources, and it has everything. There's a huge Q&A. There's the 100-page booklet. There's all the PDF PowerPoint printouts, the videos. It's all right there. If you're not a union member, make friends with your union member at the case next to you. Join, rejoin. But the information is out there. And, it's to stay safe. Those in the northern states with the snow and the ice this time of year, I've seen numerous things about offices, telling subs that, nope, everything has to go out that day regardless. If it's not safe, it is not safe. There is that lovely safety form called a 1767. If it's not going to be safe for you, as a carrier out on the street, you have the right to make that call. And if management's going to have an issue with it, then you need to contact your steward and fill out one of those safety forms. But yeah, definitely, getting home to your loved ones is your number one priority at the end of the day. And on that note, you guys take it easy. Next week we'll probably be talking more Wrecs stuff, and who knows what else is going to go on this past week we'll experience. So everybody have a good one.